The headless visitor that came to the temple at midnight. The storm outside is fierce, but the storm inside is where the real battle is. Have you ever felt an unease that lingers even in silence? An itch under your skin, as if something from a different time is calling you back. At an ancient temple, nestled high in the misty mountains, monks lived in serene isolation. But one night, a visitor arrived. He had no head, and yet he knew exactly where he was going. Most think this is a ghost story, but those who listen carefully understand. Let me tell you what really happened. It was the monsoon season. The temple, perched atop a cliff, had survived centuries of storms. The monks within had endured just as many storms of the mind. Master Eshin, the head monk, was a man who had long learned the art of silencing his inner tempests. Or so he thought. At midnight, as rain lashed the temple walls, a knock echoed through the wooden halls. 3 knocks. Slow, deliberate. But when the temple gates were opened, there was no one standing there. Only muddy footprints leading inward. Master Eshin followed them, step by step, until he reached the main hall. And there, standing before the Buddha statue, was a figure, headless, but still, somehow, watching him. Eshin did not flinch. Years of meditation had trained him to meet fear with stillness. But as the headless figure raised its hand and pointed at him, an old memory pierced through his calm. A battlefield. A younger Eshin, once a warrior, sword stained with blood. A nameless soldier begging for mercy. And a single, cruel swing that ended a life and severed a head. Eshin had left that life, or so he thought. But karma follows quietly. The figure did not speak. It didn't need to. Its presence was an accusation, a mirror. As the Buddha once said in the Dhammapada, the evildoer suffers here and hereafter. He suffers in both worlds. He suffers and he laments, recalling his impure deeds. Eshin bowed deeply. For the first time, not as a monk, but as a man meeting his unfinished karma. The figure vanished. But the mud-stained footprints remained. A path leading inward. Karma doesn't knock with fury. It whispers with reminders, until we are quiet enough to listen. Eshin's story is not a tale of supernatural terror. It's a reminder that actions left unexamined return. Not out of vengeance, but necessity. The headless visitor was not his enemy. It was a reflection of the parts he had buried beneath robes and rituals. How many of us wear titles leader, parent, friend, while hoping they will erase past mistakes? How often do we meet people who trigger a discomfort we can't name, only to realize we've met them before, in different forms, different lifetimes? Karma is not a ledger. It's a circle. And the patterns we ignore loop until compassion breaks them. So I ask you, have you ever felt a strange guilt for something you can't recall? Do you believe that the people you wronged might still be walking with you, silently waiting to be acknowledged? If this story touched a part of you that feels unfinished, you'll be back. Because you're not done with this story, and it's not done with you. The Dharma doesn't rush, but it always finds you again. In a stranger's eyes, in a recurring dream, in a hesitation before an unkind word. What you felt here was a memory knocking. This isn't the last time this story will visit you. When the time is right, you'll hear this whisper again. If this story touched you, leave a word in the comments, even just "Gin peace." Let's build a space of compassion and truth together.